Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Furnicus, Charette.
Dr. Gordon, how are you, sir?
I am good, Mike. Mike, as the listeners can probably tell, we are in the same room.
Yes.
We're in the studio, listeners. Woohoo! We're in the studio, and if we don't sound that good, I'm very concerned about our sound quality. If we don't sound good, it's because we have two mics and they're too close to each other, and I apologize. Okay? I apologize for that, but still, we should sound great. I'm excited to have Mike in the studio. Mike, why are you in Florida?
Well, Doc G, I'm in Florida because I have a 20-year class reunion that I am attending.
You already attended.
I've already attended the class reunion.
Yes. Yeah. How was it?
You know, it was very underwhelming, Doc G. I'm not going to lie, but it was a very nice reunion. I just thought there would be more theatrics, more itinerary, but it was really just a hang.
You had built it up in your head too much.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I told you, it wasn't forced fun because all they were doing was just throwing you guys in a room and said, "Hey, hang out."
Yeah.
But at the same time, in your head, you're like, "This is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna see all these people. We're gonna," and then you got there and you're like, "No, not really.
Yeah.
No, this isn't really what I thought it was gonna be."
Yeah, it was weird. But they did ask me to speak. That was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I said no originally.
Did you just go through your whole set? You just got.
I was like, if I can't control what I'm gonna say, then this probably isn't gonna be good, based on all of the other times I've tried to impromptu speak day of at an important event. So I said no, and then they kind of forced me to talk, and I've had some things I've been saying about Florida since I've been here. So
Nice.
I did a little bit of stand-up, a little bit of, hey, guys, give it up for everybody here.
Nice.
We're all doing it.
Nice.
It was cool. It was fun.
Nice. Yeah, I can't. I would like to say I'm an amazing impromptu. Give me a microphone and I'll just bedazzle, but I suck.
Yeah, it's hard.
Most people do. That's why it's so amazing when you do have that person that, and like a stand-up person that will do that.
Yeah.
That that's basically their stand-up, is they don't like. There's very few of them, but they don't really even. It's just stories they have and jokes that they have that they just sort of intertwine into improv that they do. And no, man. Somebody just tells me, if they were to tell me that, I would literally pants, right? What? I gotta do what? Oh, God, I haven't.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know.
Like I said, man, I said no all the way through. They hit me up on Facebook, and I said no, and then they hit me up at the party, and I was like, no way. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, I could probably say something.
Yeah, I mean,
I've had 2 Yinglings so far.
I've lubed the wheels. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I probably would have done it as well, but it would have been clumsy. I would have said, it would have been, and then afterwards I would just be critiquing myself for the next week, going, "Oh, that's stupid. Why did I say? Oh, I should have said this. Should have said this." It's in the moment. It's just, it's tough, man. It's tough.
It's scary.
But did you see anybody that was extraordinarily old? What? That you much older than you remember?
I mean, some of these people, I don't know, Doc G. It's hard to.
You don't have to call them out. It's fine.
It's hard to say. I mean, some people definitely don't look like they've been taking care of themselves, but some people just. It's Hain City, man.
Well, it's the amazing thing of not seeing them for that long. That's the thing is you see yourself every single day.
Yeah.
So you're aging. You're used to your aging. You don't see them for 5 years, and that's the thing is anytime I see anybody that I went to school with, I'm like. Old, it just, and in my head that's what I'm thinking, but I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, that's crazy, and but yeah, it's
Some people got better. I mean, some people look like great.
There's some people that have to like they find their like whatever when they were in high school they didn't have like a style. Like, in not a bad way, they just hadn't found them in the way that they want to look. And then when they find that, you're like, that's you. There you go, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag. But like most people, again, like I said, I'm like,
Ugh.
You know, and most of them, it's like a presidency. I mean, they've got kids, they've got a wife, they've, you know, there's things that have been aging them, you know? Watch out, Mike. Watch out.
How are my eyes?
You look a little worn. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Those Yinglings got to you.
Man, I've been drinking a lot.
They got...
Oh, God.
You know who else drank a lot, Mike?
Yeah.
The folks at Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding.
They did.
It happened, Mike.
Yeah.
And no poor people allowed.
No way. Get out of here with that.
I don't know, actually. Honestly, like, wouldn't it be great if he just, like, golden ticket just chose a couple of people to come in? Like, just right outside of the venue is just like, hey, what are you doing? You want to come in? Take this ticket.
Yeah.
You can come in, like, you know. And, like, some just guy from Venice is sitting there beside Oprah, like, oh, at Oprah? Am I sitting beside Oprah? This is awesome. Like, yeah, like, but he spent, Mike, $55 million on this wedding.
Goodness.
Which, listeners, I literally calculated this because you know I like to calculate things. Mm-hmm. That is 0.02% of his net worth. 0.02%.
Not enough, Bezos. Come on.
Which, like, I mean, if you think about a normal person, how much does a normal person pay on a wedding? Like, I mean, it's somewhere between like at least like 5 and like 50% of their net worth. Like, I mean, some people go bananas
they do.
on weddings, and you're like, you don't have that kind of money.
Nope.
You shouldn't do that. You know.
No.
He has that kind of money.
Yeah.
And he can pay $55 million, and it basically did nothing to his net worth at all. Mike, that is, I did the calculation. That is the same as me paying $30 for a wedding. And that's a true number, listeners. Like, I actually tried to figure my true net worth and relative. I won't say it. Maybe you can reverse calculate it, listeners. Go ahead and reverse calculate it if you really want a math assignment. But $30.
Yeah, that's a Taco Bell chapel wedding for you, Doc G.
I mean,
have it.
Mike, it's like I've always said. It's basically the wedding that I recommend: inviting no one, doing nothing, and just having one person there. Like, I mean, actually, $30 is less than you would spend just going to the courthouse, I guess.
Yeah,
because I think it's like $60 or something like that to go to a courthouse.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we did a courthouse wedding.
Yeah.
Well, we did a courthouse. We're here at the courthouse, and we're officially like, and then we, I guess we got it.
Then you did a little ceremony, like
tiny ceremony.
Because I remember the pictures from like the little ceremony, and that wasn't a courthouse there.
We did take some pictures at the courthouse too.
Oh, okay.
This is the other way.
I didn't get those fancy pictures. Those I didn't get the courthouse pictures. But Mike, they got married on Friday, so they have been husband and wife for. What is that, 4 days now? 4 days. 5 days. 5 days. Whew. It's old hat now, man. It is old hat. But, Mike, they had to move the wedding up because there were so many protesters. People hate them. Which, I mean, I'm not a fan of Jeff Bezos. He irritates me in a lot of ways, and I don't think he should have $225 billion. But at the same time, like... You know, what are you doing with the protests? Like, I don't think that's going to get it done. And I don't think he's going to care. Like,
well, they weren't they like originally in California and they protested them out of there?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's true. Maybe they were effective enough.
Protests worked somewhere. I think. But it might have been in Venice, and it might have only just delayed the wedding.
And maybe people were just protesting because they don't like him in California. They're like, hey, you want to go out and say how much he sucks today? Yeah, let's do it. But Mike, there were a lot of famous folks. Lot of famous folks there. On the list, we got Usher, we've got Tom Brady, we've got Leonardo DiCaprio, we've got the Kardashians, like every single Kardashian was there.
Yeah.
I mean, you had what the Jenners that aren't even the actual Kardashian. You had Caitlyn and Kylie. You had Kourtney. Oh, actually, no, I don't think you had Kourtney. I don't think there was any Kourtney. You had Khloe. I know you had Khloe, and I know you had Kim. But I think I might have to check on that. Kourtney might have, which, I mean, I don't want to say this. I may offend the listeners out there, but I think Kourtney's my favorite out of the actual Kardashian sisters.
You like the instigator?
Well, I like her because she doesn't need all the stuff, and granted, it's annoying how in love she is with Travis Barker, but it's nice. I'm good for you. And I'm sure it'll probably dry out in 5 years, but maybe shorter. But good for you now. She doesn't need to go to that wedding. She's like, whatever, I'm good. And that's what it seems like with most of the famous stuff. She's like, I don't need to. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I like Khloe.
Chloe's nice. I like Khloe too.
Yeah.
Chloe, I like. I always feel bad
OG.
for Chloe because she has. No offense, Chloe. She has to work harder than everybody else.
Does. She has to work a lot harder. Yeah.
Anyways, I got sidetracked on the Kardashians, Mike. They were there. They were at the wedding.
They were.
And you know who else was at the wedding? Sydney Sweeney. Did I say Sydney?
Sweeney.
Did I say Sydney? Sydney was there.
So true.
And I got to be honest, that really surprised me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, who? Why are you there? Who invited you? Who invited you and why would you want to go?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if she got, I guess everybody knows Jeff Bezos' name. But honestly, if I got it, I'd still be like, what? The billionaire? The Amazon dude? Why does he want me there?
Yeah.
And then, if you show up, it's not like you get a voucher for $1 billion or something. It's not just why? Why? I would not go if I were her, Mike.
No.
Mike, I've got 2 nicknames for Sydney Sweeney. I went down a little rabbit hole with her name. One would be S's. I think S's is a good name. I like S's because of Sydney and Sweeney, obviously. Right. Also, I think if you had just sort of an alliteration, if you did another S of some type in there, I don't know, maybe something just stupid like Sydney Big Sock Sweeney, Okay. Just something that goes in there like that,
Yeah.
I don't know what else. I mean, I can't think of another S. Squirrely, Sydney Squirrely Sweeney. I don't know. Anyways, S's or Bernie. Bernie. Because her middle name is Bernice. Bernice.
I don't know about that middle name.
I looked it up. Her dad. And I couldn't find, I didn't look into too much detail. And I'll be honest, listeners, I used the Google AI, just the...
No.
I know. I didn't look into it any more detail. I took it for its word, which is really dumb. But, apparently her dad was just like, you know what name is awesome? Bernice. I'm going to call her Bernice.
Sorry, Sydney.
Yeah.
Middle name.
So Bernie, that's her. Bernie. I was like...
It's the one unattractive thing about her is...
Well, Bernice, you're like, what, did you grow up in the Depression? That's not... I mean, literally, its most popular. I looked it up. Bernice was most popular name in 1932 or something like that.
Oh, man.
Just horrible.
Jeez.
But anyways, Bernie was at the wedding, Mike.
She was.
And I got to be honest, I would not have been at this wedding.
Nope.
Honestly, even if weddings were my favorite thing to do, just because of the traveling, I'd be like, that's a lot. I don't, and you got all the cool people there. I'd like to hang with the cool people, but you're forced to do crap. You got to go over to the island to go to the ceremony. You got to it seems like a lot. I don't know. Mike, would you have gone?
Oh, freaking heck yeah. Are you joking?
Who would you...
I would have been a waiter at the wedding.
Out of everybody that... Well, I would have been a waiter too, because I bet you'd get sweet tips.
Yeah,
I bet, honestly, some of those... Well, I bet you some of them are stingy as shit. You could do some stuff and they wouldn't give you any money. But who would you want to most set with out of the people that I mentioned? Who would you want to set beside?
I'd probably Sydney Sweeney. Why not?
Oh, don't tell the wife.
Yeah, I mean, she's popping off. But also the Kardashians. I like the Kardashians.
You're a fan, especially the tens, the early tens episodes.
Yeah. So.
I would be in between TB and Leo all day.
Yeah.
In between TB and Leo. My goodness, my two men.
You think they sat next to each other?
Probably not.
No.
You can't have two alpha males sitting right beside each other. That's too much, Mike. The testosterone is exploding over there. You can't do that.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos would not let that happen.
No. Well, and he's on so much testosterone, he's exploding up there too. So, you know. But, Mike, I did not go.
Nope.
You did not go.
No, I didn't.
Nope.
Our listeners did not go.
Nope.
Unless Oprah is listening to the show. And then one listener went to the show. So, Big O, if you're listening, shout out. Shout out to you. We appreciate the listens. But other than that, Mike, nobody went to the wedding. But you know where they are invited?
This show.
This mother flippin' show. Mike, are you ready to fire it up?
Let's fire it up, Doc G.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Oh, Mike, I am excited. We have the tremendous Kevin Sullivan on the show today. My goodness. Kevin's killing the game. He's been in comedy, Mike, for about 10 years, I think.
Nice.
A little bit more. What's really hitting hard, and this has got to be good for him. They're loving his astrology, content. He started putting astrology stuff.
Astrology jokes.
Yeah. He started putting astrology stuff on. It started on just social media, Mike. He'd do these little things of where he would. Most of them were always how do different signs react to something? Mm-hmm. So telling your significant other you're breaking up with them, different signs, and they just go through it, or telling or going out to eat with the different signs, basically just all different things.
Interesting.
And people love it, man.
Oh, yeah, I bet they do.
I mean, there's a couple of his videos, there's one I told him in the interview, I forget how much it is, but it's getting to kitten level video numbers, because it's 350,000 likes or something like that, several million views, and and I told him in the interview, and I asked him about this. He's had to modify his actual show to put in astrology stuff, because that's what people come to expect now. That's all they know him for. And I was like, are you worried that you're going to be the astrology guy now? And he said, yeah. He's trying to find other avenues to let him know I'm a full comedian. This isn't everything I do, you know? But it's still super, I mean, it's got to be super exciting that people are just loving that stuff. And super nice guy. Can't wait for you guys to hear the interview. But first, we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
That is true. Now, Mike, this one I'm pretty confident in. I'm just going to give you one clue. Here we go. She was Barbie.
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie is correct.
Nice.
Fantastic, Mike. Margot Robbie, just a jewel. Yeah, she is. Now, I will say this. Can you think of anyone else that you think would be better at Barbie, currently?
Young Cam Diaz.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm currently.
You said currently. Maybe Sydney Sweeney. Yeah.
I was literally, when I said that, I was like, wait a second, we just talked about somebody that could be. But I still think Margot has a more bubbly personality. No offense to Sydney. Yeah. Sydney always, no offense to Sydney. Sydney, if you're listening, which, of course, Sydney and Oprah are both listening.
Of course.
But no offense to you. You always seem sleepy. She always has, her eyes, maybe, I don't know, maybe she's just on beta blockers all the time. But she just sort of always... It's sort of half open. Maybe it's her sultry look. I don't know. But
no, man. I like when.
Oh, sure. I like the look, but she just Looks like she could use a
One
nap.
common theme in all my ex-girlfriends, they all look kind of tired. They all look kind of tired.
I fatigued them. They all looked at me like, oh,
They
Jesus.
just have this
This
tired-
guy again.
I'm into it. I'll take a nap.
Mike was like, and strangely enough, when I stopped going out with them, they looked energized
They were
again.
so awake.
I don't know. It's crazy. But Margot Robbie, Mike, I don't know if you knew this, Australian.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, Queensland, Australia. Queensland, Australia. Now, I'm not familiar, just like I'm not familiar with British accents. I don't know what the Queensland accent is. Like, I don't know what how it compares to the
They all sound the same.
other. Yeah. Well,
They all sound and look the same.
I will definitely,
All those
I will
Australians.
definitely say the British ones definitely sound different. Like you can tell, like I mean, I don't know which ones are which, but like you can tell when you get like the smooth, polished, like the very upright British, that it's just like basically super fancy American, pretty much. Just like no
Like
goodness,
they're talking in cursive.
goodness, here we are. Yes, yeah, exactly. Talking
They're
in.
talking in old English.
Oh, should we go out for tea? Yes, we should go out for tea. Like like
Can you
that.
put your fountain pen away, sir, please?
But then we
With the feather, right? The quills.
quills. There you go. Yes.
You don't have to write my number down with a.
Now but like no. Then you get the people like on Ted Lasso. That like most of those are like you hear the different accent there. They're a little rougher. Anyways, she's got some Australian sound in her there. Margot. I wonder how many people screwed up in her life and said Margot. You know, just said that T. Just put that T out there. I feel like if I were asking if she were in my class and I was reading, I would be like, Margot?
Yeah.
Margot?
It's a good way to identify all the people who are illiterate. Give your kid a hard name.
That's it.
They can figure out who can read and who can't.
That's it. That's it. Well, happy birthday to Margot, turning 35, Mike. 35. Mike, you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Woo! Mike, I got a headline from CNBC.
That's right.
And here's the headline. 58-year-old CEO started her career living on $882 a month. I ate a lot of pinto beans and cornbread to save money. That's the headline. And I got to say, Mike, I always love stories like this, you know? Because, like, stories like this, they're supposed to make us go, oh, see? That's why CEOs get the big bucks. They're willing to go the extra mile. They deserve it. Which they're definitely not. They don't deserve it, Mike, you know?
Tell yourself to obey them.
And I got to be honest, Mike, my dad eats a whole lot of pinto beans and cornbread. Yes! If anybody needs a CEO, he's waiting. He is out there. Like, it's just, Mike, in the interview, when they're talking about her hard scrapping upcoming, she said, quote, "It proved to me that life's tough, but you don't have to worry about life. Just worry about today."
Word.
Preach.
I got to be honest, Mike, that doesn't make much sense.
Nope.
You know? Today is life.
Yeah, it is.
Life is today. Finkel is Einhorn.
Wait, what?
Like, it's just, that's the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Come
I
on.
can see it. It sounds good, though.
Sure. She was trying to wax poetic, you know? But then she also said she learned more during night shifts as a registration clerk at the emergency room and as a bartender on weekends than she did as a college student. So I got to say, then there's one of two things, Mike. You were either a student or you had teachers.
Yeah.
One of the two. Because that definitely should not be the case.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to be honest. I'm sure the people at Tulane where she went were psyched to see that quote. What the? Man, come on, lady. At least just like Detroit. Oh, yeah, college was good. Let's talk about some other things. Like, come on, man. Anyways, Mike, I got a headline from CNN. Here's the headline from CNN. Ashley Tisdale says her toddler thought Zac Efron was real-life dad while watching High School Musical. Sadly for the toddler and for Ashley, real life is not the movies.
Nope.
That is... if I were her, I'd have to look at her and be like, oh, I've got bad news for you. I don't know if you've seen her husband, Mike. He ain't no Zac Efron.
No.
No, I mean, he's not.
It's hard to be a Zac Efron.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's not a, don't get me wrong, listeners. It's not like, she's dating the Hunchback of Notre Dame or anything. But it's not like, I mean, come on. Zac Efron with those baby blue eyes and that chiseled physique, my lord.
Good looking guy.
Also, I gotta say, what kind of sick freak are you when you're just forcing your kid to watch all of your former movies? Hey, what do you want to watch today? Yeah, High School Musical? I was in this. There I am. You impressed yet? Like, no kid. And she's like 3. No 3-year-old wants to watch High School Musical. Get out of here. It's ridiculous, Mike. So speaking of, when are you going to just put on Doc G shows on a continuous loop for your daughter? There you go. That's the show.
It's going to be tough to beat out American Pickers, Doc G. I'm sorry, man. It's
just, you can put it on headphones for her.
Okay.
Just put the headphones on her. There you go. Enjoy.
We'll have American Pickers, but it'll be the show as the sound.
Honestly, if that were the case, Mike, your daughter would soon be a serial killer. That would definitely be the case.
It's too much of a good thing.
That is a weird combination she would not be able to handle. Anyways, I got a headline here from BBC. Here's a headline from BBC. North Korea to open beach resort as Kim bets on tourism.
Word.
Really? That's what he's betting on, Mike? Like, you've got a starving, militaristic dictatorship. And you're like, you know what goes good with this? Fun and sun on the beach. Yes! Let's hit it.
No.
Like, it's just, I mean, like, you know what people love? The threat of being thrown in jail forever when you're on the beach. That sounds good. Let's get on out there. Spice things up. Like, they can't even grow palm trees where they put this resort, Mike. Like, it's too cold. You can't even grow a f***ing palm tree.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically like if we were in America, we're like, hey, you know where we need to put a beach resort? Oregon. Let's get one up there. Everybody loves it. Come on. Like, it's a horrible place. Like, why would you do it? I don't get it.
Yeah, we don't have any idea what it even looks like in the first place.
Oh, they put out press responses of it.
Oh, okay.
It's out there, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look...
We're getting catfished by this place.
It doesn't look bad in their pictures. It's probably AI, you're right. And it probably just were like, hey, make a... There are these great pictures of him sitting beside a giant water slide and watching tourists come through. And apparently all the tourists now are literally just North Koreans, like from other places, because they won't allow anyone in from the country, or from the outside of the country. And I'm just like, what? Like, and if I were one of those people, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going there.
Nope.
I want to go down the slide wrong and get shot in the face for going down the slide wrong. Pass.
No way.
Like, just... But yeah, so anyways, listeners, if you're interested, mark it down in your calendars. They said they're opening it up to the whole world soon. So it could be you. It could be you.
That's a fact.
We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKR-LP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do the listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like this show is a positive way to waste their time, then they should please subscribe to the show. Listeners, wherever you consume your podcast, we are everywhere. Please subscribe to the show. And if you are feeling extra generous, please leave us a 5-star review. You can only do that on a couple of those platforms, but we would appreciate it if you did.
Yes! Amen. Amen. Mike, I need to thank the regulars.
We do.
So here we go.
Shoutouts.
Hold on. Okay, there we go. Shout out to Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Fort Worth, Texas, Boardman, Oregon, Phoenix, Arizona, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Genoa, Italy, Richardson, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia.
Nice.
It was a little bit of a trip, but we got through it. We got through it. I thought I was going to go all the way, and then that darn Dublin, Ireland, and Genoa, Oregon. I couldn't even get it out. I said Genoa, Oregon there again.
Genoa, friggin' Oregon.
Genoa, Oregon. Anyways, Mike, 4-star listens. New York, New York. Boom.
Nice.
Auburn, Alabama. I tell you, man, those stews, they have got a following in Auburn, Alabama. Like, I feel like that whole campus had to be listening to the show last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Our numbers
Thank you.
skyrocketed from Auburn, and I was like, either there is like one insane obsessed fan that just keeps repeating it over and over again every single day, or there's a lot of people that like them in Auburn. My goodness. Macon, Georgia. Shout out to Macon. Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. We talked about Mount Pleasant. I think that's where they're actually located, Mike. I think that's where the stews currently are.
Oh, okay.
Because that's Charleston, and that's where they hang. Let's see what else we got. I got lost. Richmond, Virginia. Shout out Richmond. Newark, New Jersey. Detroit, Michigan. Always a big fan. Detroit. Laurel, Mississippi. Laurel. Mike, you know what Laurel's known for? The HGTV show Hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where those guys are from. Ben and I forget her name. Whatever the lady's name is that's married to Ben. I remember Ben's name because it's my name. So that one's easy for me. Anywho. Shout out to them. Santa Clara, California. Shout out to them. Madison, Wisconsin. Kansas City, Missouri. Brisbane, Australia. Denver, Colorado. Huh? Mike, speaking of shout outs, just needed to give a shout out real quick. Now, listeners, if you're not aware, on a lot of the shows, due to time constraints, I will cut different parts of the rip from the headlines. We usually do a good amount more than actually goes on the show. And last week, in the total episode, the full episode, me and Mike were talking for about 20 minutes that got cut from the actual episode. And in that, there was a conversation about a headline about a story about Annie Knight, who slept with 583 dudes in a challenge. And even though I cut the show from the actual episode, I made a video clip of it. And I posted it on the social medias and whatnot. And Mike, I got to say, shout out to Annie. She liked it.
Shout out.
She did.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She liked our post. And I was like, shout out to you, Annie. I was like,
I thought you were going to say, like, we got 580 views. On
No, we got, it would have been nice. Every dude, 583 of them, they all walk. No, we got to I looked at it and I was like, wait on, is that that's actually her? Wow.
Oh, wow.
And because, I tagged her in them. I tagged her in all of them. And I gotta be honest, shout out to her for the dedication. Cause I'm sure she gets, let's be honest, she gets a ton of hate. She gets probably a ton of hate and a ton of pervs. And if I were her, I would just be like, you know what? I'm not going to look at any of these things.
Yeah,
but she looked at
the
the tags and was like, what's this all about? And then she watched it long enough to be like, yeah, I agree. That guy does look like he'd have a hard time finding 583 women to have sex with him. That totally is believable. Like,
nice.
So anyways, shout out to you, Annie.
Yeah,
you know?
shout out.
Yeah. But anyways, Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back with none other than Kevin Sullivan right here on the Doc G Show. Show, everybody. We are very excited to have a tremendous comedian who just came through Florida. If you missed him performing, you should be ashamed of yourself. Mr. Kevin Sullivan. Kevin, how are you, sir?
I'm good. You should absolutely be ashamed because I'm not going back. No.
Oh, no. You missed the one opportunity, everybody.
There was a one and done. No, I'll be back for sure.
Good. Well, you've got Seattle coming up. That's in the next week here, and that's at the Crocodile. How's Seattle treated you in the past?
Great. I've only been there one time before for stand-up. It was last year, and they invited me back and gave me a better time slot and 2 shows on a weekend. So
Can't
it was
complain
mutually
about that.
beneficial. Yeah. So that's next weekend.
Awesome. Well, now, before I get into the stand-up stuff, I got to say, I saw that you just recently took a trip to Japan.
Yeah.
Now, was that just straight vacation there?
Yeah, I wanted a little trip before touring again.
That looked
And
amazing.
It was the best. I can't recommend it enough. I know that they're going to be changing their, I think, tax laws. Because you get so many benefits going, like tax-free, anything over you purchase over 500. It was great. I can't wait to go back.
Now, how many cities did you go to?
I mostly just spent my time a week in Kyoto and a week in Tokyo.
Okay.
And we did like a day trip to this place called Kamakura, which is like a beach town.
Nice. Now, what was the favorite part of the Japan trip and all?
The shopping. The shopping is unreal.
Lots of options, huh?
Yeah, and affordable. It's also the safety, the order. Like, it's just really, it was really refreshing, honestly. It's people cared about each other. It was nice. I liked it.
Think maybe you get to a certain level, might just go to Japan.
Yeah, I can't wait to just live there.
I don't know. I don't know about their stand-up world.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like.
I'm not sure either. There definitely, I would either need to have an interpreter or learn Japanese, but I think it would just be a fly-in, fly-out situation. I would just maybe spend a lot of time there.
I need to do it, but I'll be honest. It seems like the time zone change would kill me.
I have never been so from jet lag in my life. Like, I was wrecked.
Yeah.
I've been to Asia a few times, and not to brag, but maybe it's because I'm getting older. I just had a friend that went to Korea after, and they weren't as up, but I think I also scared the them being like, they saw me trying to adjust for 8 days.
Yeah.
I was up at 3 a.m, and then I was like passing out in the middle of the afternoon. I also think I might have been battling some sort of underlying like sickness or flu or something. So that didn't help.
No.
And a comedian schedule definitely doesn't help you become aware like of time zones. I never know where I am.
Yeah. It was my brother, he used to travel a lot for his job, and he would always do what was insane to me. He would just stay up until you were supposed to go to sleep in whatever time zone he was going to.
That's what I do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and
Normally.
it didn't work here at all.
No, it did not work. I on the beginning of my tour this time it did work, but I was only dealing with California to like I went to Canada, but then my flight was so early and I couldn't sleep. So I just stayed awake until and then my next stop was New York. So I just stayed up for 30 hours until New York. That was kind of miserable. But when you're on the other side of the world, you can either sleep deprive yourself or sleep too much. You're kind of screwed.
There's no happy medium. No happy. I feel like I need like the slow get over to Japan, like, stop. I mean, that's the problem is there's not like any, like if you're trying to like halfway it, the most halfway you can get is like Hawaii, and that's still forever.
Well, you
and it's still,
go the other direction and go to Europe.
That's true.
Go forward.
Go slower. That's true. And just take like a couple days on each trip. That requires a lot of money, and I don't have that. So that's
require. It's the flights that will get you.
Well, now on to stand up. You've been doing stand up since 2016.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say you're one of those like early bloomers, of comedy. Because there's some of those folks that I've known, that I've talked to, that have been doing it since they were like in high school. Now, did you grow up loving comedy?
Yeah, I loved it. I never thought it was going to be me. Like you just watch it and you're like, wow, that's brave. I was kind of in awe of these people.
Yeah,
Never really thought. I thought I was going to be more of an improv SNL host. I don't know if that's still off the table, but I definitely didn't see stand-up being a path.
So who were the stand-ups that you watch?
Jackie Cation, I love. Ellen DeGeneres, her early stand-up was some of my like favorite. Mostly women.
Now, were you one of those folks that did you go around like using their lines, like repeating it, like sort of practicing it? Yeah.
Like there's when Ellen talks about someone having ADHD, like her server has ADD, and she's like, "Oh, really? Get my sandwich." I would say, "Really, get my sandwich" all the time. They're like, "Oh, I get distracted too." I'm like, "Oh, really? Get my sandwich." And people are like, "The bangs. What about the bangs?" I would quote them all the time.
Well, now growing up, I think this is pretty well established. You've got eight siblings.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, is everybody funny, or is it like a mixed bag, or no funny?
Everyone is sharp. Like there's not nuance, subtleties. My siblings catch it all.
Observant, maybe not
very,
so funny, but very observant.
They're quick though. I mean, especially if it's like a coming to blows, sarcastic like fight or something, yeah, you're gonna hear some real zingers from the family, like, and everybody.
Nice.
She's so funny.
Well, now I will say, I don't know. Have you ever heard of the comedian Charlie Barons?
No.
He might rival you a little bit. He's got 11 siblings.
Charlie Barons.
Yeah. 11 siblings. I have one brother. I don't know how 8 is. I would forget people's names. It seems like it's a lot.
Birthdays were really tough for me to remember.
Well, now, one other thing that I wanted to bring up as far as your family, I read this, and I may have been wrong. I'm not sure if I read this wrong or not, but it's at one point you worked at Dunkin' Donuts with your grandma.
Yeah, well, that's so fun. Yeah, I talk about it in my set too now.
Nice.
I was
nice.
14, so
that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was. I think still my favorite job. I would, if you were like, hey, you could make a lot of money working at Dunkin's, back in Boston or doing stand-up, I would take Dunkin's. Like, bring me back to my heyday with my grandmother.
I mean, that seems like such a good. I'm guessing if your grandma's working at Dunkin', she's got to be a pretty interesting character.
Yeah, she was so funny. She was an Aquarius. She was just like me. We're just two observer weirdos working at Dunkin's, spreading rumors about the town. And then I lived with my other grandmother. So I lived with my dad's mom and I worked with my mom's mom.
Wow.
So one grandmother would pick me up from the other grandmother's house at like 5 a.m. and we'd go. It was just a summer gig, but it was my favorite. Because I was like an only child. When you're by yourself with your grandparents and you're not sharing attention with your 8 other siblings, it
Feels
was
special.
A dream. I got spoiled by both grandmothers for a whole summer. It was great.
Now, did both grandmas like each other?
Yeah, they were friendly.
Nice.
Especially when one had tea to spill to the other. Like they were just funny. They were from 2 huge families. Like we're from a pretty small town, suburbs of Boston.
Yeah.
And they're both from massive families. Then they both had, my one grandmother had 7 kids, the other one had 6. And then all those kids had kids. Like I was related to the whole town.
I was about to say,
that, like a cousin over here and a cousin over here at one point got married, but the cousin over here already had our last name just because like it was so wild. Like my mom's cousin has the last name Sullivan. So it was just like, it's really bizarre.
So spilling tea was usually family tea.
Yeah. We'd be like, oh yeah, they're getting a divorce.
Well,
my grandma was funny. She was very funny, very cold. Like cold but funny. Her little like eye rolls and her looks, I get a lot of that from her.
Well, I feel like grandma, well, old people in general are great just because they've given up caring so much. Like,
yeah, I don't know that she ever did have caring. She was cold always. But it was so funny. But she would give you the shirt off her back.
Yeah.
But it was like very East Coast love. Like she would drive me home, and I would kiss her on the cheek, and she would like white knuckle the steering up, and she would like lean away because she just wasn't used to that in her life. She was from like, she was like, oh, Jesus. And I'm like, bye, Nana. And she was from like a very strict, cold upbringing herself. Her mom was from Scotland, like just. And then by the end of the summer, she was leaning in. She was like, oh, bye.
You won her over.
Yeah, we became best girlfriends. I loved it.
Well, now you ended up, you went to college for biology. I was a biology major. Not the most exciting thing. I mean, it depends on who you are. But now, did you get into biology just because you were like, oh, this is a thing people do? It's pre-med. I'll be a doctor. That's respectable. Was that sort of like the mindset?
Yeah, I was pre-med for 3 years, which I think people meet me and they're like, wow, thank God you're not a doctor. I would for sure be like Patch Adams. But yeah, I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. My mom's a nursing director. Like it was very much, my dad called me the brains. Like out of the 9 kids, I was the one with the, my editor's calling me. I had the best grades. I was always like kind of a star student. I liked school. I understood school more so. I don't think I was necessarily smarter. I just was good at school. I was like, oh, this is a game. So yeah, they were like, you have to be a lawyer or a doctor. I didn't know that there were literally more jobs. I thought everyone in the world was either a lawyer or doctor.
2 options.
Yeah. So at year 3, I quit school. I moved to LA for a modeling gig. I got a contract with an agency, and then when I went back to school 6 months later, I was like, yeah, no way. I've been in the real world. Like, I'm not doing this 4 more years and then special after like residency. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I switched to international studies, economics, and then I graduated 2 years later.
Gotcha. And now, two things. One, you were also a pretty fantastic diver in college.
I was a diver. I'm fantastic. I was all right.
Hey, you did it in college. In my book, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's do you still dive?
No, I do have dreams about it though, because I had a couple mishaps.
Ooh.
You know that like you just end up regretting. Like I went to NCAs twice, and the first time I went, I got a really bad sinus infection, and it triggered vertigo. So I was flipping, and I couldn't even. It was miserable. And then the next,
it's sort of like a Simone Biles sort of situation.
Yeah,
there,
it was exactly like it was horrible. Except for I was also like violently ill. I couldn't eat because my throat was like closed.
Ew.
So I was also like really weak, which sucks because this is your top of the training. You've been in the pool, in the gym, hours and hours and hours. And it all comes down to this one meet, and it was in Missouri. And it was awful. And then the next time I qualified for NCAs, I had torn my meniscus the week before.
Ugh.
So I still went and competed, and that was what took me out.
The what ifs. The what ifs. No sinus infection, no meniscus.
Yeah, what if I could have done better? But I was also the tallest diver that's ever lived. Not really, but it's too tall.
6'3". That's getting up there for a diver. That's up there. You go to modeling. That's obviously a pretty big change up. How long did it take you to realize like, oh, modeling, this isn't so great?
I knew pretty quick. It was truly what a horrendous career. I graduated. My ex and I moved to LA for like 6 months, and then I moved to New York. I got signed with an agency there, and it was tough. It was, unless you're the top, and then you have an amazing career, and it's fun.
Yeah.
There's thousands and thousands of models that are struggling. They get one job a year, trying to survive off that. They're in model housing, paying tons of fees to their agency. It's like, yeah, it's not it. My agent used to literally, I did one New York Fashion Week show, and I never got paid because my agent was paying a favor to the designer and used like 5 of us as like payment. So we all worked for free.
Yeah.
Clothes.
Yeah.
They gave us some clothes. They gave me a bunch of clothes. I walked across the street, sold them at the Buffalo Exchange, and took the cash and went home.
Well, at least you got something.
Yeah.
Something there.
Totally. I was like, these are brand new from the designer right there.
So how long did you actually like struggle through modeling?
A year, probably like a year in LA. Also, like I was just set up for, I booked a job, and I was in some magazines, and I was on a billboard that's really close to here. Like a couple. So that I feel like screwed me up, because I was like, I need to just really push through and pursue this. So longer than I would like. A year. I was there in New York for a year, and then I was like, I'm good. But I had probably been doing it for a couple years in LA before then.
Yeah. So then the turn was to commercial acting.
Yep. I went to Groundlings
Nice.
To do improv, because I met with an agent, and they're like, you need to do improv.
Now, when you decided that you like wanted to go into like commercial acting, were you seeing yourself like the next Flo from Progressive? Was that what you were?
Courtney, I wish. No, I saw myself as like like commercial modeling where it's like I'm on a couch in like a Sears ad, like drinking coffee with my wife, my wife and kids.
You didn't want to add comedy into it yet. You wanted
No, I'm like fixing a car.
Right. I still, man, that Courtney, she is impressive.
Yeah, she still performs at Groundlings like every week.
I went back and looked at it. She's been doing Flow since 2008.
Yeah, she truly won because it's like, I think some people understand like fame is the kind of worst consequence of what we want to do, but it's also the measure of your success almost at times. So that's weird. But for somebody who loves comedy, improv, and you love to do these things, you like to make people laugh, she makes an amazing living. She can still go grocery shopping. Yeah, of course I'm sure gets stopped in the streets and has to take pictures with people, etc. And people know who she is for sure. But she can still go perform and like lead a pretty normal, life with a great check, and probably owns a house.
Very nice. I would be very surprised if she did not own a house. That would
I'm
be.
Sure she might own a couple. I know what her salary used to be. I looked it up once because I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Like State Farm, any of those staple people. But she is. I mean,
she's the pinnacle. She's the pinnacle.
She's the top of the top.
Everybody else is trying to catch her.
No one will ever have Flo's flow. That is for sure. I think like you said, you'd have to be in it for over a decade, and there's no one even close right now.
No. You got Doug and Emu. They've got like 10 more years to go. I don't know
who that is.
Oh, you haven't. That's Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual is their Doug. And they're supposed to be like, it's basically like they're supposed to be like almost like police detectives. And it's him and then a emu, like literally the animal, an emu.
Okay.
And yeah.
Great. Well, good luck to them.
They make some pretty good commercials.
Yeah.
They make some solid commercials.
And I don't think they're targeting me for those ads.
Well, now you mention it. You go and they're like, hey, which is very common, of course. And that's the thing is like most of those folks in commercials, especially obviously comedy-based commercials, those people that star in them are usually very involved in improv. And, and so they tell you to go to Groundlings, and you go to Groundlings, and you had a teacher, let's just say it was a bit of a
Wait, how do you know this?
I do my research. Your
research is killer. Yeah, there was a teacher that really was kind of the worst, and I think has since been fired, but was truly awful. It was from the get-go because he found out I passed my first round without taking my final, which has never happened in he's like, this has never happened in Groundlings history, which I'm sure he just made up. But also, it was rare, but it was the school's fault, and the teacher wasn't gonna hold me back. She was like, "There's no reason, no."
Yeah.
Anyway, so he had a weird just hit on me the whole time, and it was
just
bad.
Nitpicking.
Yeah, and then we would have subs come in. Honestly, I thought I got crushed at improv. I loved it. I was willing to be the weirdo. And we would have subs come in. Even one of his mentors came in, and she kept me after class, and she was like, "You keep doing what you're doing." She gave me a couple pointers. She was like, "You're gonna be great." Whatever. Then he would come back in the next week and just rip everything I was doing apart. I did a monologue once. I'll never forget it. It was like a 2-minute monologue. The class loved it. he went in on me for a solid 5 minutes. And I was so mad and like heated because it wasn't constructive. It was really like, why would you do this? I just kind of like started rebuttaling and joke form. Like as if I was dealing with the world's worst heckler. And then the class was like laughing and crying. And I was like, oh, I think I like my POV. And after that, I was like, I'm going to do stand up.
So that's what sort of gave you the feeling of being on stage.
That's what made me feel like, okay, but myself and I, that monologue, I was like, okay, I'm okay being up here by myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of better that I'm not having to rely on a scene partner to be like, oh, and you also have this addiction to puppets. Like, I don't have to wait for someone to name me something. Yeah, so then I reached out to a couple stand-up classes. Met with one. He was like, seems like you have a cloud of drugs and alcohol around you, so I want you to get like sober and then we can work together because you're great. And I was like, oh, that's so crazy, but honestly kind of fair.
Come on.
Yeah, then he like couldn't end up mentoring me because he had a student win the World Series, blah, blah, blah. So he's like off. He's like, you'll be fine, honestly, on your own. Just go start doing it. And I'm like, great. And then I started drinking again immediately. I was like,
good. I'm not going to work on that then. Okay.
Okay, perfect. And then like right to the bar. And then I didn't actually think about stand-up for a minute until my ex and I broke up. And then a stand-up teacher called me out of nowhere. And he was like, are you still thinking of doing stand-up? And I was like, no. I was like actively crying in my car outside of a gym when he called. And I was like, no, thanks. I'm not feeling very funny right now. And he's like, what, are you okay? And then I told him what's up. He goes, oh, I hate to say it, you're kind of living comedy gold. Because I was like staying at a friend's house. I was like, her son was gone for the summer, so I was staying in her son's room, and he had like race car bed, Legos everywhere. Nice. And I was like, this all my stuff is everywhere. I have my dog. It's truly tragic, but yeah. And then I called him back 2 weeks later, and I was like, yeah, I want to do it.
Nice. How long did you stay like in class? Like how long did you?
It was 8 weeks. It was an 8-week class. I think we met once a week for 3 hours or something. And then we had a show at the end at the Hollywood Improv.
Now, was that like the first real deal
yeah,
stand-up?
I didn't do any open mics or anything before then. Because I had like, read and seen videos about people like trying to do stand-up and just how people would just like, oh yeah, just go to open mics, eat and be bad for 2 years. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Makes sense. Well, how'd that first time go?
It was great. I got off stage and I was, shaking. I was so nervous, but the laughs were there. I'm sure if I watched it now, I would scream. But I was like, I knew I felt passion for the first time in my life. Model. I've had a million different odd jobs.
Yeah.
And I always thought, I was like, oh, is modeling my passion? No. Acting didn't feel like it either. Neither did medicine. I went into hospitals. I was just like, I just like that we wear pajamas and, stick people with needles. But yeah, it felt real. I was like, now I have something to work towards in this life.
What would you say? Because I've had a good number of comedians on the show, and I would say there's a mixed opinion on classes. Because there are some of those people out there that are like, you don't need classes, you don't learn anything from classes. And then I definitely have had different comedians that have came on. They're like, yeah, it teaches you so much. I mean,
yeah, take a class. I understand the ones that don't say like, oh, don't take a class. Mm-hmm. There is an element of like comedians that are out there doing it, wanting, new comedians to really like get the out of them and go through the ringer. But even if you take the class, like you're still going to be dealing with that.
Right.
The number of like open mics and everything else I did in that first few years, taking around that like 3-minute set that I created in this class, like you're only 3 minutes. I still had to like make new jokes, go to open mics, build that to 5 minutes on my own, build it to 7, 10, 15, but to learn how to stand up, like it's discipline of joke writing, workshopping a joke. You're just gonna go to an open mic and be like, so today I was at Trader Joe's and I couldn't get the bag out of the car. Like you have no joke structure.
Would you say that's the biggest thing you learned from the class, was like how to structure a joke?
No, because yes and no, I guess. I already knew rules of 3. I kind of like I speak backwards sometimes. So like set up punchlines made sense to me just because that's how I would storytell. But I think the workshopping, it taught me how to like look at a joke from a different angle. Like I think this is really funny, but it's not working. So I guess, structure in a sense of like, where can I fit this funny thing, and also attaching emotion. And like, really training yourself on like getting to the root of like why things are funny.
What's good in this topic? Is it the wordplay? Is it the organization? Is it the whatever it may be?
Then you work with like I have a great comedian I go to for advice, a mentor of mine, Erin Foley. The way you go through, I'll be like, oh, this joke. She'll see a script and she'll be like, what is this? And like the way she blows open like a whole new topic where I'm like, oh, I really just left so much there that I didn't even explore. I just like kind of took one joke and grazed over it. Diving into material.
So do you like workshopping with other people? I mean, even on like your own material, like bouncing it off other comedians?
Yeah, I honestly don't do it enough. I used to in the class. It gets you, because you're all new.
Yeah.
I found like then I would do some groups and stuff, but if you can get the right group together or the right comedians, there's only a couple now that I'll work with. But also like doing little shows with friends. I've gotten tags from friends after show and they're like, have you ever tried this? And you're like, fuck, Jesus. That was sitting there the whole time. I never even saw it. Like, and I love doing that for friends too. Yeah.
Well, now I was cruising through some of like the old dates that you did, and like I saw some stand up from 2017, 2018, and at the classic LA places, the Laugh Factory, Comedy Store, and you got big names on some of these shows. Like you were doing some of these shows with Bobby Lee and Theo Vaughn and Nikki Glaser. That had to be a little bit intimidating when you did the. I mean, were you cognizant of it back then when you started, and you knew like I've been here a year or 2 years, and I mean at that point Nikki had been doing comedy, Bobby had been doing comedy for like 20 some years at that point.
Yeah, I was definitely aware. There's a show at the Comedy Store they called Superstars, I think. It was always like super famous lineups, but every once in a while they would like have an unknown. And I was working with somebody, I forget what we were even doing, giving out water for a job, and I just started. I was 6 months deep, and he sent my booker and was like, this guy's funny. He just started. Lots of people want to see him do comedy. Like he brings a lot of people to shows, whatever. Because this Booker just wanted to fill the room. Didn't give a shit. And then when the lineup was released, it was literally like Hammond, Theo, Bobby, me, I think Reese Darby, maybe, like all these names where I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then I had a lot of friends come out.
Yeah.
And that's where I met Craig Conant, who I love. Yeah, it was terrifying. And then I was in the back shaking. I think Bobby was on stage. And no, Bobby was after me. The booker goes, hey, I have to bump you one spot. We have a drop in. I was like, yeah, no worries. I'll leave. I'm good. Yeah, I'll become an audience member. It's totally fine. And I look over and the drop in was Judd Apatow. And I was like, this is so casual. Yeah, no, for sure he can go. I guess.
I'll give him a couple minutes.
Yeah, which, yeah, for sure. So then he took his time, and then I went, yeah. And it was, and then I talked to a guy afterwards. He was like, great set, this comedian. I don't know his name, but I'll never forget. If I come, I can't wait to see where this guy is now. But like, in a spiteful way, we're sitting there, and he looks at me and he goes, "That was a great set. How long have you been doing comedy?" And I was like, "Oh, 6 months." And he was like, "Are you kidding?" And I'm like, "Yeah." What? No, I'm not. I was like still shook just by like what happened. Like the room it's the belly room too. Everyone wins kind of there, especially when you have 30 friends in the crowd. Like,
yeah. You got the hype. You got the hype machine behind
They
you.
were like bees. It was nothing I could have said anything in one. Anyway, he's like, I wouldn't tell anyone that here. I was like, oh, all right. He's like, because you've only been doing it 6 months. People would be pissed. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was really like feeling so good. And now I'm feeling like I should just leave. It was really weird. And then I was like, oh, comedians, the camaraderie is, if it's working for them, you know, he wanted me to say like 10 years, and that's why he's not on the show.
Yeah. He wanted to feel better.
Yeah, but he's been probably doing it for 10 years, and I'm like, 6 months. How long have you been doing it?
I'm just naturally awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I went to an open mic yesterday, and now I'm here. How about you?
Well, I mean, seeing all of those comedians, like we were mentioning, these big names, who would you say is like, I mean, you know, not, I don't want to make any of the people that we mentioned feel bad, but who would you say is like the best that you've seen in person, that you were just like, man, they are always on?
I've seen Nikki workshop material, and it's like, I've seen it like the material twice. First time you see it, it's, you know, brand new, and the next time you see it, you're like, oh, she is working on this material. Like it gets so good so fast.
Polished. Yeah,
she's quick. She's a worker. So that's commendable, and I'm like, it's inspiring for sure to be like working. Theo, I was on stage, he was next. I didn't even know he was watching me, but he had a bit about me before he even got to the stage. Like, he was just so quick. And then it went right into his material, which I thought it was off the cuff, but it was in his special right after that. So I was like, oh, it's material he was working on. But just the storytelling, he was it was just like a really natural flow every time I've seen him. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
Who would you say, like, because I mean, now it seems like it's such a big deal, and I think it seems like so much bigger of a deal because it is such a social media tool. But who have you seen that you would say is like the best to do crowd work?
The best crowd worker?
Yeah.
Adam Ray. He is. I mean, Jessica Kirsten too. I love watching her clips. I just did New York Comedy Club too, and I was like, oh, this is where she does it, because she has like a residency there.
Yeah.
every week. But Adam Ray has always been someone that I've looked up to clip-wise, like watching his crowd work. He just really calls it out, remembers people throughout his set. And I think it's always impressive to see.
I love seeing good crowd work. I mean, because it's like you said, it's that spontaneous speed that
and in person is different than online. Everybody, like, there's some comics out there that have fire clips. It is tough clipping. Crowd work. I have like highlight ones that I post, but seeing someone do great crowd work in person, and you got to see how long those pauses and those lags are, where in the set that, that callback actually is. Because it's sometimes someone will say something at the beginning of a show, and then you have a comic call it back 45 minutes later, and the crowd, you can't show that online. Like what that makes the crowd feel. And that's why live comedy is so like much better.
Oh yeah, everybody feels it in the room. It's well, now I guess speaking of the content versus in person, you started doing sort of the astrology content on social media. It was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, pretty 2025. Yeah, it's been like 2 years. I've always had astrology in my content. But it wasn't just astrology. Like in the beginning, I think on TikTok, like first couple 100,000 followers, like I was just chaotic. I got banned all the time from that app. Usually I was painting my nails, and then someone would comment something, and then I'd go talk about them in a video, and they'd ban me for bullying. Like a lot of that, a lot of trend content, and then every once in a while I would do some sort of like Zodiac video. And yeah, I've done some really interesting. And then I was just doing jars rolling down, calling them different zodiacs. That was a fun little stint. And now I'm doing like skits. It's easier to compartmentalize, honestly, kind of for mental health, like as well. Like I don't have to comment on everything. I don't have to like deal with every negative comment and make these videos. I just like make art, put it online, and kind of that's it.
Well, like, I mean, when did you realize that it was a pretty good avenue to go down? Because, like, I mean, I was cruising through. I just went on Instagram fairly quickly and was looking through, and I came across the telling each astrological sign they're wrong.
That one I loved.
Well, and that one has like, it almost has like 200,000 likes. I mean, you're getting to that level of like, kitten and puppy territory of everybody liking it. Like, when did you realize, like I said, that you're like, you know what? These I should probably do more of these.
A year and a half ago in the winter, there was a trend. It was like, I'm a guy. Of course, I blah, blah, blah. It was quick. I worked in social media. I worked in an agency. I was always like trend watching. It was like when I could call it trend before it popped off, it was like my favorite thing. Anyway, so I knew this one I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the astrology signs. I'm an Aries, of course. So, and then I got influencer friends or comedian friends that are that specific sign to do them with me. So my friend Julie and I I'm an Aries because he's an Aries, and it was so fun to make. And then it performed pretty well. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do these for all the signs, and then we'll just like go from there. So that was like, it felt like work in the best way. And then I think Gemini, a few of them I think got over like 5 million views on TikTok. And then I was like, oh, then all the other astrology content I was making picked up, like, because people were going back through my
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna keep making astrology content after that.
Nice. Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't really follow astrology. I had a roommate in college who absolutely did. He was one of those guys that every single. I think you might know him actually. Rainier Pollard.
I do know Rainier.
Yeah. He was my roommate in college and undergrad.
Up.
Yeah, pretty wild, right? Small
That
world.
is so funny. Yeah, I know Rainier. He's hilarious.
He would every now and then try to suck me into the astrology. Like I would say something, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense," and I'd be like, "Why?" And he's like, "'Cause there's a moon over Virgo, and this person is fading Aries," and I would just be like, "What?" And he'd be like, "No, that's why it's happening. So obviously that's the outcome." And he told me, now I may be wrong about this, I have a tricky sign.
What are you, an Earth sign?
Well, I'm April 20th, which apparently is on the cusp of Aries and Taurus. It's like right on the
I
line.
just had a friend. Yeah, which April 20th. Someone else's birthday is April 20th, and they claimed. I was just looking at that specific day not that long ago. I'm not going to lie. I know exactly who it is. Oh, April 20th. Yeah, you're a Taurus.
Okay. Now, so there's no in between. You can't have like half
But
seas.
I remember because they were claiming they were
Aries.
And I'm like, I don't know about that. But
Yeah.
Well, that makes the most sense because Taurus don't believe in astrology.
Okay, well there you go.
Typically, isn't Rainier a Taurus?
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
But
now-
also, it's going to depend on your moon, your rising. You have so many different signs that affect everything. Like you have a whole chart, and that's why people are like, "Yo, you're one of 12 things." No, not every Gemini is the same because it's a whole like list, and then you have degrees, and like it's very personal.
Well, now I will also say that 420 is Hitler's birthday. So, is there some way that you can look at a astrology sign and know that somebody's the spawn of Satan? Is there any way that you can look at that?
We'd get into like Minority Report territory, though. They'd like check the sign, like, or be like, "Ma'am, you cannot have your baby right now. We have to wait 2 more minutes."
Exactly.
Or you're gonna have
hold it in.
Yeah.
We don't want this right now.
There's a dictator chart in there right now.
But now, since you got on like this astrology content, and it did get really popular, how much have you added to your stand-up?
Oh, like this is so funny, and what an astute observation and question, because it was a thing. Like obviously I'd have astrology content, majority of my following on both platforms. Like literally no one gave a about me on Instagram until I started reposting my TikToks to Instagram, but my TikTok was doing fine. And of course then they're gonna want to see you, you know, especially because it's comedy based. So then I'm doing stand-up. Like Seattle last year sold out, and we're like, oh, okay. It was the first time I did an hour also. And I was like, well, I have to do astrology because that's what people are paying to see. Like, that's how they know me.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of astrology. Like I was workshopping still in this show, and I was infusing like a lot of astrology into it. And somebody after the show, a friend of mine, a Leo, he was like, he brought his friend, and his friend is not an astrology girly. So he was like, oh, she was laughing, but some of the stuff went over her head because she doesn't really understand or she doesn't follow. And I was like, ooh, thank God I got this note off the rip, because now I can kind of change the material. So I have more of the crowd work is astrology based, but I can ask them with their sign, do a thing, and then go into like normal crowd work. It's not hinging upon their sign for it to be funny. But and then some of the other bits, there's not really. There's astrology sprinkled out.
Yeah, because I did see. I think I saw you posted a video one time of you doing crowd work, and basically like you asked something like about astrology, and like nobody responded, and you were like, "Oh, okay, well then I guess go Padres." I don't know.
That was in Venice Beach. Because that was just a book show, so I do sets around town still, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'll ask if they, follow astrology. And now I have bits talking about just astrology, like the topic in general. And that show I was working on it. And just, what is it like when there's a crowd that no one likes astrology or follows it? And then can they still follow along with these jokes?
Did they?
Yeah, it was a tough crowd. No, I was like, I think it's so funny when people are like, oh, astrology is not real, but they need to wear their lucky undies or the Padres won't win. And it's like, oh yeah, for sure. The team that you're not even on needs your lucky underwear, but the stars aren't real.
Oh, well, man, I tell people as far as like sports, that's one of those things that killed me. Like watching sports for me, like it's become this thing like where when I get too emotionally invested in a game, like I get really mad that my team's losing, and then I realize that like it doesn't matter. Well, I realize it doesn't matter at all. Like I'm not doing anything, and I'm like, ugh. And then it makes me madder, and I'm just like, ugh. So
yeah,
like,
you're a Taurus. Yeah, my brothers get really worked up about sports because we're from Boston, so they have to.
Yes,
but
yes.
After the game, I'd be like, look at the players. They're having a good time. Like they're all rich. Yeah, sure, they lost the World Series, but they're still worth $1 million. Like they're fine. If you guys could all stop breaking things, like that'd be cool. Totally. It's just funny to me when it's like I like comparing sports to people that astrology, because it will be like people get so upset about these random players, and then you have somebody being like, when and where were you born, and they're like, yeah, that was and you're like, okay. Okay.
Well, now, since the astrology stuff has taken off, and like you said, you added it into some of the set, do you ever get like, have you gotten concerned that you're like, oh, I don't want to get pigeonholed as like the astrology guy?
Oh, I mean, some of me already thinks that's a little not too late, but it's something I think about a lot because I go on TikTok live. I was on yesterday, and someone's like, oh, it's the astrology guy. And of course, I don't want to be the astrology guy because I'm not an astrologer. I don't do that for a living.
Right.
I'm a comedian that likes astrology and loves zodiac signs. But there's a couple that I follow. I'm like, they're astrology guy. I'm just goofy skits. But I haven't been doing that long. I am actively and constantly thinking about the out and just mixing in other things. That's why I've started posting more stand-up clips, because I do have people coming to my shows that have never been to stand-up because they're just there because they like the astrology videos, and I kind of have to introduce them to me as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, that's amazing to me too. Like, because I've had a little bit of that with some of the musicians on the show, that they'll tell me, people have came to their show because of one song that they heard on TikTok for like 20 seconds. And I'm like, you mean a person spent like $25, went to a show that's like 3 hours long for that song? And I've heard the same thing from comedians of like, yeah, I saw this one bit, thought it was hilarious, so I came to the show.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've had people, and then they bring people, and then the people are like, I don't even know who you were, just came with my friend, had a great time. Like that also always feels nice because you still want to just put on a good show.
Let me ask you, what sign is most likely to do that?
Just come because their friend invited them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A Libra.
Okay. Am I unlikely to do that?
Very.
Okay, that's what I would say yes. That's correct.
Unless they were like, hey, we're gonna take you to this dinner and it's really nice and it's this food you really want, and then we're gonna go see the show right next door. It has to be like laid out convenient, and there has to be a meal involved for a Taurus.
I like that. That does sound up my alley. I can't deny it.
Someone at one of my shows in Florida, she was like, hey, there was no food at the venue. He's like, she was like, I ordered food. It's taking a minute. Can I bring it in? And I was like, are you she was asking the owner, but I was overshot. And I was like, that's a Taurus. And she's like, I'm a Taurus. I'm like, yeah, of course you are.
Well, now I've got one other thing about stand-up. Are you currently working towards a full special? Is that like the goal?
I mean, of course, it's everyone's goal, like to have the hour. I mean, maybe some comedians know, I guess, because formats have definitely changed. There's, with the 15-minute releases, the half hours. Yeah. Of course, I still want an hour. I just think it's such a nice. It's like a badge of honor.
Complete package.
Yeah. You have to do your hour. I'm not actively working towards it. I just want to have the best touring hour I can right now, and have a backup hour for when that hour does get filmed. But I really don't want to make it unless someone I want to be paid for it. You don't
want to just so you're not into the no, and I'm not calling anybody out, of course, but you're not into the posting your special on platforms yourself.
I think it makes sense for your first special to make, producing, especially because it gives you so much content, and that's the game. So I understand wanting to post, on YouTube or Amazon Prime, wherever you can self-post. It's just it's an expensive venture. But you'll get amazing clips and they'll look great. And I have friends that have done that recently, and I fully support them, and I think that's amazing. I just don't think my material's also there yet, to where I have any direction of what I want to do. So that's why I'm like, if someone paid me for it, it would motivate me to do it.
Yeah.
But not really seeking it out right now.
For now, it's make the best show night to night.
Best show in person night to night, and then maybe a 15, somewhere like Netflix introducing or something like that.
I like it. Well, Kevin, I don't want to take up any more of your time, man, but I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Listeners, make sure you check out his upcoming shows. You can follow him on Instagram at Kevin Sullivan and on TikTok at The Kevin Sullivan. We will be right back here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKR LP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. You just heard Kevin Sullivan. Fantastic, Mike. Super nice guy. I enjoyed the conversation. Like I said, he's killing the game. It's always got to be nice when you start to get that you get that feedback. Like, I mean, it's one of those things that I think about sometimes. It's a little exciting, also a little daunting. You know, all of a sudden you're getting all these likes. All of a sudden you're moving from like small, uninvited gigs to the full. You're blocking out the Laugh Factory and the comedy. Like you're blocking out these big stores for the weekend. You know, I mean, got to be awesome. But at the same time, a little daunting. You know, exciting for Kevin. You know. And he hasn't got to the point that I'm surprised he's not rushing it. He's working on that material. I asked him about the whole special, and he was like, not yet. You know, which I don't know. I go back and forth about when I think about that, because like I think about it now, and I like that's the thing is we're so disposable now. Like, I feel like some people might just overthink it, you know? And I'm just like, just throw it out there. Who cares? And then if it's not good, get rid of it. Yeah. Sure, somebody will be able to find it eventually, like, you know, if they wanted to go back and dig. But, like, you know, like, it's pretty easy to, like, and I know a lot of comedians, like the older comedians, they had a bunch of albums that they haven't put out on any streaming services, and they just say, forget it. I'm not putting those out. Like, so, like, you know. But, you know, he's working on it. He wants it to be a solid hour. He wants it to be that tight hour, you know.
Comics are talking crap about a lot of specials now. You know, a lot of people are talking a lot of crap about this. I don't know. I can't say that because I'm too close to it, but I don't know. It just seems like nobody's really impressed with stand-up specials anymore.
Well, I think to a degree that's one of the things is it's a little saturated. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why it's hard to really cut through, just because there's so many. I mean, you know, you get to a point, and that's the thing, is like somebody's releasing a special every single day. And I mean, when you have it on YouTube, that's the thing. Like, you can release it any time. So, like, you know, back when it was like basically HBO and that was it, it was a pretty big deal when, you know, Eddie Murphy or Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle, like, they would release a special, and you go, holy crap. It's out. We got to see this thing, man. Like, now it's like, and that is, I still, like, for most of the big comedians that I know when their special's coming out because I see it on, like, social media and stuff. Right. But, like, it's tough. It's tough to get it out there. You got to play.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, also I would say, you know, and nobody asked me for this advice. This is unsolicited advice. So feel free to stab me in the eyes, any comedians that are listening. But I would, you know, I'd say don't overthink it. That would be my thing, you know. Like, you want it to be funny, but don't overthink it, you know. Anyways, Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, top 3.
Mike C, top 3 reactions to injuring yourself.
Yeah.
Now, I realized after I did make this one, Mike, I've got to say, it sort of depends on where you hurt yourself, too.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? So, like, it's regional, but we'll do like, I guess we'll just do most frequent, because, like, that's what I sort of did. So, most frequent injuries. So, I don't have any honorable mentions. I mean, I could have put some honorable mentions, but we'll just go with the top 3. Okay, number 3 for.
I do have an honorable mention.
Give me the honorable mention.
When I would injure myself, I would cry.
Yeah.
I don't do that as often anymore. Now it's just fury. But I mean, I can't remember the last time I cried from an injury.
Nah, it's got to be some rough physical pain to bring me to actual tears.
Yeah. But that used to be the go-to.
Yeah, well, because like when you get injured when you're a kid, that's the thing, is like you don't know really what's going on. You're like, why does it suck right now? What's happening? Like, it's confusing. And so like everything is like falling apart. But when you're old, it's just like, oh, like, what it was. Like, I mean, I would say I turned to anger when it was my dislocated shoulder. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a bunch of me grimacing and being like, oh, God, this sucks. I didn't cry. I will honestly say I did not cry when that happened. But, there was a good amount of anger. There was also, I will say, I didn't cry, but there was definitely fear. Like, oh, what is gonna... oh God, what is this? Oh Jesus! Like, I had some of that, but no. But Cry is definitely a go-to for a younger audience.
Yeah.
It is definitely
Honorable mention, Cry.
I mean, for like anybody under 5, that is the number one. Like, even when it doesn't hurt. Like, I'm sure you've seen that happen with, like, a toddler. Yeah. They fall over, they automatically start crying, and then their parents are like, what? What's wrong? And they're like, oh, false alarm, I'm fine. Okay. And they just get up. Like, they just automatically cry, and they're like, oh, no, nothing happened. Whoops. Okay. Like, and so it's the go-to. Yes. Mike, my number 3. This is for sort of the true start of this top 3, which was, I started this with if you stub your toe. So like anything where you have a small injury, stub your toe, hit your elbow on something, maybe you stand up and you hit the corner of your head on something, like there's like the cabinet's open and you hit your head on it. Gosh. Okay, this is where it gets obscene. My automatic reaction is always that is always, and I feel bad about it, and I apologize afterwards. I'm like, sorry, but that's always the go-to is that, and I'm just like, because I don't know what else. That's always
it's a good one to say though.
Yeah, it's
so good to say.
It releases the sort of like the anger, the feeling. You're like,
GFC.
Yeah, and it's
very therapeutic.
It is, and I definitely, like I said, any sort of fast pain that goes like that. I mean, it's a go-to, and luckily that hasn't occurred like beside any nuns or anything like that, because I would feel horrible if that were the case.
Flames,
I'm sorry, that's like at the top of your list, isn't it? My bad. Like, but that's the go. Honestly, like it happens way too often, and I feel really bad about it, but that's pretty much the go-to most of the time.
It's just a good phrase.
It's a, like you said, it is a good release therapy.
It is.
Number 2 for you, Mike.
Well, so my number 3. Doctor.
Oh, sorry, number 3. Number
3 would be when I get injured, it's sort of like emotional pain. My low injury is I repress it. I pretend I stubbed my foot. I know I stubbed my toe, and it really hurts, but I pretend like it's not actually happening. I repress it, and then I
try to think of something else. Try
to push it out with my mind. Yeah. So I just I pretend like I'm not hurt.
Well,
I try to pretend like I'm not hurt.
I will say I sort of do that. Like, I know I'm not, but like I'll try to sort of just like I'll just look at something else. I remember specifically one time when I cut the crap out of my thumb. So I was a young buck, and I had a pocket knife. I finally convinced my mom to get me a pocket knife because I was a Boy Scout, or a Cub Scout, whatever it was.
Boy Scout.
I had to do the whole whittling thing or something, and they gave me a badge, and so I got that knife, and that was the thing is, of course, I'm like 8 or whatever I was. I'm not gonna be responsible with it. I'm 8, and so I'm up in my room one day, just like whipping it around, like I'm super awesome. Here I go, and like I closed it, and that was the thing. I closed it on my hand. I still had my thumb, and it was in the webbing right there. And it was a super sharp knife, because that was the thing. Is my dad always set me up with things that are the most dangerous and the least amount of fun.
Blam.
Because if you would have told me what kind of knife to get, I could have been like, just get me a Rambo knife that doesn't actually have a sharp blade on it. It can be dull, and I can just go around whipping that thing around. That's all I wanted to do. But instead, he got me a not fun pocket knife that was the sharpest thing on the planet. And he told me when he got it, like, I remember, I don't know, Mom might have went with me to get it, but I remember just him being like, no, you gotta make sure. This is like one of the sharpest blades you've ever looked at. You gotta, and I was like, I'm 8, of course. It's the same thing when I wanted a BB gun. He finally got me a gun, but he got me a pellet gun. And
pellet guns are worse.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And the pellet gun could go through like this much wood.
It's a little bullet.
Yeah, and all I want,
tiny bullet.
all I wanted to do was shoot my friends, and I was like, I can't shoot my friends with this. I'll kill them. Took all the fun out of it. Anyways, yeah, I remember when that happened though. I knew instantly when I closed it on there. I was like, oh crap. And so I just closed my hand, and for a good 45 seconds, I just stared at the wall like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. I didn't do that. And then I was like, no, I did. And I went downstairs and I was like,
Blood on my shoes.
Mom, and I just opened my hand and it just dripped all down my arm, and she's like, oh Jesus.
And then when you did that with your hand, like the wound opened up. And it was
Oh,
like,
probably. I can't remember too clear, but yeah, that deferring pain. I'll definitely say that's a common. That sort of goes in my second one, Mike. Which my second one would be running away from the pain.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know, if I can, that's the thing, is if it's something like in a basketball game and I hit something or hit someone, I'm just going to sort of bounce around and be like, yeah, try to, oh, God, that's bad. Okay. And just keep moving. I always try to keep moving. Doesn't work. I mean, I guess I don't know. But it's, that's the go-to for some reason. It's just keep moving. Maybe it won't hurt,
Yeah.
What's your number 2?
Yeah, my number 2 is the same thing. Just like emotional pain, just run away from it. Just hold the injured area and run around, and I don't know why. It is kind of, it's like you do. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some adrenaline gets released or something, and it just takes away from the pain. But yeah.
Well, regardless, it's a distraction of some sort.
It's a distraction. Yeah. So, yeah, I do the same thing, Doc G. I run. That was my number.
Which sort of goes into my number 1. It's fairly similar, but if it's something bad, really, really bad, and it's sort of the same. Again, it's just distraction, but I will grip or press down on something else extremely, extremely hard.
Yeah.
Right? So when if it were my leg and I really hit it on something super hard, and I'll just squeeze my arms as hard as possible, just trying to get that contraction out and be oh, that's what I'm focusing on, is this oh man, it's rough though. It's rough when one of those things hits and when it's bad enough, because I will say, in any time in the last decade, without a doubt, the worst pain I had was hurting my shoulder. I couldn't do any of that. All of those things were gone. In that one, it was just I was on the ground, just oh, I'm broken. Oh, I'm so broken.
Yeah.
That one was rough. All bets went off. But your number 1, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't move around. My number 1, I go fetal position. I look at the injury, I hold the injury, and then I call my sister. She's a registered nurse. And I'm hey, how much time do I have left?
Sometimes you ask me if it's not that severe. I remember, you probably asked your sister too, but I remember the back injury that you had.
Yeah, no, for that one was for you, because I know you're way more
skeletal muscle,
knowledgeable of the skeletal system. Yeah.
That makes sense. I am not a licensed doctor, folks. You do not contact me. It will be bad.
Nope.
I've hit her up for a broken hand, broken elbow. I didn't break my elbow, but my wife did. We called her immediately. And then I tried putting, I had some Wayfarers, Ray-Bans, and the lens broke. And so I bought new glass lens, and I tried putting those in.
Shattered?
It shattered, and I cut my thumb so much so that it was open. I was like, Sarah, do I need to go to
stitches?
Or what can I do? And she actually recommended, they got stitches at the freaking Walgreens now. You just buy those little stitches and you're good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a little tab, and it just closed it up, and yeah.
Now I feel stupid. Good thing. Well, hopefully, let's knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't need any
I still
of those
have
stitches.
a scar there, and it's annoying.
Sure, but you didn't have to go to a scary ER, so that's fine.
No, taped it up.
Anyways, there we go. All right, Mike. What do we need to do next week?
What about I mean, you mentioned this, and I just have the one word, but appetizers.
Top 3 appetizers. Your go-to appetizers.
Top 3 appetizers.
I like it.
All right.
I like it. That's easy. I mean, that is the thing is I wasn't an appetizer man. Well, my parents weren't, of course. They would not allow appetizers for the longest time because why are we wasting money? Get an entree, you turd. That's what you're here for. But then we got to a certain age, and that was the thing is me and my brother got into wings. And so we wanted wings at like every single place. Didn't matter if their wings were So we would get wings. And so then we sort of became an appetizer group because of wings. So... but I have my go-tos that I look for on each menu. And I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good. I'm actually now the initiator when there's a big group of people. I'm always the person like, hey, should we get an appetizer? And I'll be honest, I'm usually very much so in the minority. Everybody's just like, what? No? Like... Well, I don't know if they're thinking like we need to split this up. I don't want to figure out how to split this up, because I do. Like that's the thing is like whenever I say it, I'm like I'll pay for it. I'm paying for it. I'm like that's like, but it's just like I don't know. Some people aren't I love appetizers, man. It's fun.
I'll get down with some appetizers. And
they're always fast. You know, they usually come out super quick, and you're like, potato poppers are already out here. Awesome.
It's also something super unusual that you could never make.
Yeah, well, they're always. I mean, most of the time it's fun finger foods of some sort, you know, and it's good stuff. I love a solid app, man. Solid app, it's good stuff.
Pumped. I can't believe we haven't done appetizers.
You know, it's a crucial part to going out, in my opinion. It's much more crucial to me than like a drink, but that's because I don't drink. But like to me, like you know, that's the go-to, and it just gets you excited. You're like, oh crap, now my food's coming out.
Yeah.
I will say though, there have been a couple of times, and this is very rare because I've got a huge appetite. There have been a couple of times where the appetizer was so big, I actually was pretty full for my meal, and I was like, oh god, this is gonna be rough. I remember one time, the place McAdoo's, I ordered these massive nachos, and literally I was the only person that was eating them. Like everybody else at our table was like, yeah, I'm good, I'm not gonna have any. I was like, what? There's like 8 pounds of nachos. They're like, yeah, we don't want any. So then I ate pretty much all of them, and then my food was coming. I was like, oh god, this is gonna be bad, you know. Anyways, okay. Top 3 appetizers. Mike, we've got 2 birthday suits left. I'm pretty confident in both.
All right, cool.
I'm over like 90% on both. So the first one is a movie actress, and the second one would be a comedian. Which one do you want first?
Let's do the comedian.
Okay. Pretty sure you'll get it off this. July 2nd, 1947 was his birthday in New York City. He is the co-creator of Seinfeld and the creator of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Larry David.
Larry David is correct, Mike. Started comedy in the 70s. He wrote for ABC's Fridays. Then in 1985, he wrote for a year on Saturday Night Live. Then in 89, he teamed up with Jerry Seinfeld to create Seinfeld, which in many books is the greatest sitcom of all time. I think in the TV Guide all-time list, it was ranked number 2. I didn't actually look what number 1 was. I'm guessing maybe MASH. I don't know.
Yeah, probably MASH.
But, such a my God. Not to be my dad on this one, but the money Larry David must get from that. Good Lord. The residual checks, that's hundreds of millions right now.
You could watch Seinfeld all day.
Oh, it's good. It's good. In 1999, he came up with the old hour special titled Curb Your Enthusiasm, which led into the show Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's crazy because there were so many stoppages of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's only 12 seasons, but that 12 seasons spanned literally over 25 years. So, wow. Yeah, so there were a couple of stops in there. But yeah, I'll tell you, the devotees of Curb Your Enthusiasm are devotees. They love it. They love Curb. I like it. Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie. I like Seinfeld way more.
Yeah.
And I don't like when people say, oh, you like Seinfeld? You'll definitely like Curb. I'm like, no. Then you don't get Seinfeld. Like, you don't understand because, like, Seinfeld is a well-crafted, well-written story. It's extremely tight, and there's connections all throughout. Curb is improv. Most of it, they come in with an idea. Here's the idea of the story, and then all the dialogue is made up. It's riffed.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing. Yeah, there are little, idiosyncrasies that he does that came out in like George's character and Jerry's character, but it's not the same thing, man.
It's trimmed.
Yeah, but again, it's still very, very different. Even when you talk about like the old episodes of Seinfeld versus, like, I'm just like, no.
I haven't watched enough Curb Your Enthusiasm to like even tell.
Don't get me wrong, it's good, but like, yeah, it's not Seinfeld. It's not Seinfeld. Anyways, I've got friends. Trust me, I got friends that love Curb that would get offended at that and be like, it's way better. And I'm all right. To each their own. Sure. Anyways, the last one, Mike. Born on July 2nd, 1986 in the Bronx, New York. I'm going to say the best clue would be lead character in Mean Girls. She also was in Freaky Friday. Lindsay Lohan is correct. Started modeling when she was 3, Mike. Oh. Yeah. Then she started doing Disney movies. First was Life Size, then Get a Clue, then Freaky Friday. She had some addiction problems. Then she did I missed this completely. She did an 8-part docu-series with Oprah. Yeah, in 2014. Missed that one. Yeah. Apparently it wasn't, it didn't get great reviews. Anywho, then she moved to Dubai. She got married. She has a kid. I think she still like lives pretty much most of the time in Dubai.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's got like 5 clubs too in Greece. She owns like 5 different like night clubs. Yeah, it's pretty wild. She's like got a pretty good amount of like hospitality places that she owns.
She's making a comeback now too.
Well, she started doing movies more again around 2020, and Freakier Friday is coming out sometime this year with her and Jamie Lee Curtis still in it. Yeah. And she's the director. So there you go. Turn it one more year, Lindsay. Live it up. One more year in your 30s, and then you're old as shit. That's the way that works. Right off the cliff. Right off the cliff. Anywho, Mike, we need to wrap it up for this week. It has been a fantastic in-person show.
Yep.
And again, once again, listeners, I haven't listened to this playback. I've got my headphones on, but if it sucks, I apologize again. I'm sorry. I should have tested mics much longer and before we started recording. But regardless, anyways, we've got some great shows coming up. I can't wait. We got the Counting Crows coming up. Oh my goodness, the Counting Crows, listeners. Just amazing. I mean, all the songs that they have. Long December, Mr. Jones, Been Hanging Around. Oh my gosh, the jams. But we've got them coming on the show. We've also got some other great guests. Can't wait for you to hear it. But until then, I've been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus Vernicus Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zip-a-doo-dah.